A single glass of wine. That's all it took for a billionaire family to lose everything. Here's how it happened. Nothing prepared the guests for what happened next. One moment, the ballroom shimmered with warm chandelier light. Soft music drifted through the air, and elegant laughter floated from table to table. It was the kind of night people would later describe as perfect, a night of polished speeches, expensive dresses, and a deal worth billions quietly in the making. And then, in a heartbeat, perfection shattered. A sharp gasp sliced through the room as a stream of deep red wine came pouring down. Thick, vivid, almost slow motion. It splashed across the white satin of Ava Morgan's dress, staining it instantly. The entire ballroom froze as the wine dripped from her shoulders, her neckline, even onto the golden dinner plates in front of her. Ava Morgan, the woman known worldwide as the genius CEO who could revive any sinking company, sat perfectly still. She didn't leap up. She didn't scream. She didn't even frown. She merely closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in gently, as if centering herself. Across from her stood Charlotte Kingsley, the billionaire heiress with a reputation for being both entitled and dangerously impulsive. She held her empty wine glass like a weapon she'd proudly fired, her lips curled into a smirk so sharp it could cut steel. The Kingsley family, owners of a global tech empire, watched in horrified silence. Nathan Kingsley, Charlotte's older brother and heir to the company, stared in disbelief, his face turning a shade paler with every second. And hovering above all the silence was the weight of the deal Ava had been ready to finalize. A $2.4 billion partnership. A deal so massive that analysts had been buzzing for weeks. And Charlotte had just humiliated the one woman powerful enough to make, or end, the entire agreement. Ava finally lifted a linen napkin and gently dabbed her face, still calm, still unshaken. Her movements were so composed they made the moment even more chilling. Charlotte let out a theatrical scoff, loud and careless. This is what happens when people don't know their place. Those words detonated through the ballroom. Guests covered their mouths. Some turned away. Others stared in frozen shock, knowing they had just witnessed something catastrophic. But Ava, she simply smiled. A small, serene, unnervingly confident smile. A smile that made Charlotte's own confidence flicker. Because Ava wasn't just another CEO in a white dress. She was a woman who understood power. A woman who knew how to use it. And Charlotte had just handed her the perfect reason to do so. Nathan rushed forward, his chair nearly tipping behind him as he stumbled toward Ava. His face burned with humiliation, not for himself, but for the recklessness of his sister. Ava, I'm so sorry. She doesn't know what she's doing. Charlotte, what is wrong with you? His voice cracked with desperation, echoing across the silent ballroom. Charlotte simply shrugged, leaning back with the smug confidence of someone who had never faced real consequences in her life. It's just a little wine, she said coolly. She'll survive. A few guests closed their eyes in disbelief. Others turned their heads, as if hoping the moment could reverse itself. But it was too late. Ava lifted her gaze, her expression unreadable, her composure unshaken. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft, yet razor-sharp. It's never just wine, she said. It's disrespect. And disrespect always has consequences. The room inhaled as one. You could hear nothing except the echo of Ava's words hanging in the air like a warning. Slowly, deliberately, Ava stood. She placed the napkin she'd been holding onto the table with a level of poise that made every movement feel like a decision. Nathan, she said, her tone calm but carrying the weight of a verdict. Before we move forward with any partnership, I need to know one thing. Nathan straightened instinctively, throat tight. Anything, he whispered. Does your family normally treat business partners like this? Ava asked, her voice steady. Or am I a special case? Charlotte let out a dramatic, theatrical sigh. Oh, please. You're acting like you matter more than this deal. My family built empires. We don't bow to people who... Charlotte, stop talking now, Nathan snapped, turning on her with rare fury. But Ava lifted a hand, stopping him. No, she said. Let her finish. Her eyes remained fixed on Charlotte. It shows me everything I need to know. Charlotte blinked, momentarily confused, then smirked, thinking she had somehow won. She didn't realize she had just revealed exactly what Ava needed to walk away. not just from the conversation, but from the entire multi-billion-dollar partnership. Ava turned back to Nathan, her expression composed but resolute. "I'm a woman of dignity," she said, "and I don't do business where dignity is optional." Nathan felt the words hit him like a blow to the chest. He could see it, clearly, painfully. His sister had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. And Ava Morgan was not the type of woman who forgave disrespect. She was the type who ended it, permanently. Ava didn't stay to argue. She didn't raise her voice, didn't demand attention, and didn't try to reclaim the dignity someone else tried to take from her. Instead, she rose with a calmness so controlled it made the entire room seem louder, messier, and more chaotic by comparison. She walked out of the ballroom with a grace that silenced even the boldest whispers. Guests parted for her automatically, as if they instinctively understood they were in the presence of someone who didn't need power plays. She embodied power. And for the first time all evening, Charlotte's confident smirk faltered. It didn't disappear entirely, but it cracked. She could feel the shift in the room, the weight of eyes turning toward her, judging her, silently recoiling from her arrogance. Nathan, panicked, rushed after Ava, nearly tripping over the hem of his suit jacket as he burst into the hallway. "Ava, please," he called out, breathless. "You know my sister. She's impulsive, rude, but this deal is everything. My father trusts you. Our board trusts you. We need you." Ava stopped walking. Slowly, she turned to face him. Her expression was calm, almost gentle, but her eyes were sharp with resolve. "Nathan," she said quietly, "this isn't about needing me. It's about respecting me." Nathan swallowed hard, nodding quickly. "Then let me fix it," he said desperately. "I'll talk to her. I'll have her apologize." Ava raised one eyebrow, unimpressed. An apology forced is not an apology earned. Nathan opened his mouth, but Ava continued before he could speak. "But you're right about something," she said. "Your sister is impulsive." Nathan looked confused, unsure if Ava was agreeing with him or warning him. Ava didn't leave him guessing. "And your company?" she said softly. "It's drowning in mismanagement, legal issues, and sinking stocks. I was going to save it. I had a plan that would have turned everything around." Hope flashed across Nathan's face like a desperate spark. He stepped forward eagerly. Then we can still." Ava shook her head. "But I don't save companies that don't respect the people who would save them." The hallway went silent. Nathan stared at her, his voice cracking. "Wait, you're canceling the deal?" Ava's voice was soft, but every syllable hit like a verdict. "No, I'm simply returning the disrespect that was served to me. Business is built on trust. And tonight, your sister showed me exactly what your family thinks of mine." Nathan looked like the ground had given way beneath him. Ava turned away, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor as she walked down the long corridor. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. The deal, and everything that came with it, was already gone. By the next morning, the Kingsley Empire woke up to disaster, and not the kind that could be fixed with a few phone calls or a PR statement. At 7:12 a.m. sharp, Ava's company posted a message that sent shockwaves through every corner of the business world. "Due to internal culture conflicts, we are formally withdrawing from the Kingsley partnership." 16 words. That was all it took to spark chaos. Within 40 minutes, the consequences hit like a meteor strike. The Kingsley stock collapsed by 27%, wiping out billions in market value. Major investors began calling non-stop, demanding explanations. 2 international partners suspended talks immediately. Financial analysts flooded the news networks with grim predictions. Lawyers from every direction started emailing crisis memos. By 8 a.m., the Kingsley boardroom was in full-blown panic. Papers were scattered, phones rang without pause, and executives paced like the building was on fire. And then, William Kingsley, the billionaire patriarch himself, stormed in. His presence alone normally restored order. "Not today. Where is she?" he barked, slamming his briefcase onto the table. Before anyone could answer, Charlotte sashayed into the room holding a caramel latte and wearing sunglasses, completely oblivious to the catastrophe she'd created. She took one look at the frantic boardroom and scoffed. "What's everyone freaking out about?" The heads of several departments dropped into their hands. Nathan spun around so fast his chair flew backward. His voice cracked with fury. "You? You destroyed a $2.4 billion partnership because you couldn't control yourself for 5 minutes. Charlotte's smugness faltered for the first time. Her latte trembled slightly in her hand. What are you talking about? William Kingsley slammed his palm on the table so hard the sound echoed off the glass walls. You thought humiliating Ava Morgan would make you powerful? He roared. Instead, you embarrassed this entire family and jeopardized our future. Charlotte's mouth opened and closed like she was searching for a defense. But it was just a joke. It was a $2.4 billion joke. William shot back. A joke that cost us investors, partnerships, and the trust of the entire market. Charlotte shrank under the weight of his words. Then, in a voice low but final, William delivered the punishment no one thought Charlotte would ever face. Charlotte Kingsley, you're removed from all company operations. Effective immediately. The room fell silent. No one breathed. Not even Charlotte. The consequences she never believed were possible had finally arrived. 2 weeks later, Ava sat in her corner office, high above the city, the skyline glowing beneath the morning sun. Her office, lined with glass walls, reflected her calm presence as she sipped a cup of jasmine tea and flipped through the latest reports. The numbers were clear. The Kingsley empire was collapsing. Every trend line pointed downward. Stocks, partnerships, public opinion. The once untouchable Kingsley brand was unraveling faster than anyone had predicted. Her assistant knocked softly before entering. Another email from the Kingsley board, Ms. Morgan. They want to arrange a meeting. They say they're willing to renegotiate. Ava didn't even look up. They're not asking for a meeting, she said calmly. They're asking for salvation. And she was right. Over the last 14 days, the Kingsley board had begged, pleaded, and drafted proposal after proposal. They offered revised terms, higher percentages, and even a written apology from Charlotte. But none of it mattered, because Ava wasn't driven by ego. She wasn't chasing revenge. She simply refused to accept disrespect. And the world respected her more for it. As the Kingsleys continued to sink, something else happened, something the board had never expected. Other corporations began lining up for her expertise. Some offered double what the Kingsleys had proposed. Others offered triple, along with full creative control and equity. Ava smiled as she closed another report. Power, she knew, wasn't about money. It was about choice. That afternoon, the elevator doors opened quietly, and Nathan Kingsley stepped into her office. His posture was humble, nothing like the confident air from weeks before. Ava, he said softly, I'm truly sorry. For everything. Ava set her tea down and studied him for a moment. She didn't see arrogance. She didn't see entitlement. She saw regret. Deep, genuine regret. I know, she said with a gentle smile. And I don't blame you. Nathan exhaled shakily. But, Ava continued, leadership isn't just about what you do. It's about what you choose to tolerate. Nathan lowered his gaze. He knew she was right. He had tolerated Charlotte's behavior for years, brushing it aside as personality when it was actually poison. Ava leaned back slightly. The deal didn't fall apart because of a glass of wine, she said. It fell apart because of a lack of values. Nathan nodded slowly, understanding the lesson far too late. He thanked her quietly and left her office with a heavier heart than he arrived with. Ava turned back to the panoramic view of the city, confident, unshaken, and more powerful than ever. Because when you truly know your worth, you don't just win deals. You choose the ones worthy of you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful, emotional, and jaw-dropping stories every week. And make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next twist-filled episode. See you in the next video.